red light areas. I've read somewhere, sir, something like this. I've heard and I've read it, that if there weren't prostitutes or red light areas, most of our mothers, our sisters, our wives, our girlfriends would be raped day and night, mindlessly. Because of them, we are being saved because of these prostitutes. I don't know where I've heard this, but I read it or heard it. I don't know, but that suddenly came out from my mind. I just remembered that thing. So what you shared is very, very true.
That's a very good statement, actually. See, uh, nowadays prostitution is not limited to women itself. It encompasses men also. It encompasses transgenders also. So the entire spectrum is into that. So prostitution, what I feel, should be absolutely legalized. There has to be set rules. There has to be set boundaries. There have to be standard SOPs for their working. They should be given the benefit of maybe housing, living, health benefits. And when you give that to them, na, then then that will become the choice of the person whether to join that profession. I'm i'm actually calling it a profession. It should be by choice, not by force. See, why is prostitution bad? Prostitution is bad because even today majority of the people into that are into it because of force. Now that force can be because of some other person, force can be because of poverty, force can be because of innocence, force can be because of fear. So there are multiple reasons why they are there. So if we remove that force factor from that and people actually embrace that profession, then that will be a much needed outlet for all these sexually deprived people, and not just from kids, but even to elders. Yeah, how to satisfy your sexual urge in the privacy of your house. There are so many people even today, especially women, who don't know how to masturbate, how to satisfy oneself. So, masturbation is a very good thing to be taught to people because that is an act which can be committed in your own privacy, in your own private space, without anyone's knowledge, and that can help you reduce that urge to a large extent. How to do it, when to do it, why to do it, these are the questions which we should answer when we are conducting these awareness programs. And when these people understand that yes, there is an easy way out rather than actually committing some crime against someone, that is the time when these sexual offenses will reduce. So, but I always believe law will never reduce sexual offenses. You make the strictest of law. See, after every rape case that happens in India, na, many activists go and say, "Arey, make the laws more stringent." What more stringent laws can you make? Already, a rape case has the death penalty. उससे आगे क्या करोगे आप? So laws are strict, laws are there. What we need to change is the reason why these criminal acts occur. And so today, what we are talking is actually making the people understand why you're becoming a criminal. So, because of this podcast, if even one person starts thinking about his sexual urge and starts to satisfy his urge in the privacy of his own house, doesn't give in to the cultural blockages, doesn't give in to the pornographic insensitivity, thinks that whatever he has experienced should not be experienced by someone else, that will be the time when this podcast, I think, will be successful. So I think the achievement of this podcast should be measured by this. If someone alters his own mindset, changes the thought that he is having, thinks how evil reduces urge and breaks the shackles of this regressive thought process, this revenge process, this experimentation that he wants to do, the desensitization, the patriarchal mindset. Even if one person, one can change his mindset, I think this will be a success.
Excellent, doctor. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. You've shared that so powerfully, and you've given many tips on how you can deal with your sexual energy. Don't deal with it in a negative way. There are many positive ways for letting out sexual energy, irrespective of gender. I guess even there are some sexual toys and some robots, etc., helping out people, to satisfy their sexual urge, if I'm not mistaken.
Unfortunately, see now I'm a little controversial. I'm talking. Unfortunately, our country laws do not allow us to sell sexual toys. Sex toys are banned by law in our country. All these things that you are saying are sold as massagers under the very cliche name of massagers. You don't get sexual toys. Every other country, you go to South Asian countries, Singapore, you go to Malaysia, you go to Indonesia, you go to Thailand, there are sexual toy stores. Just like you have your Kirana Mal Dukans over here, they have sexual toy stores where they show you the toys, they demonstrate how to use it. So these things, yes, these things should be encouraged. And that is when we will be able to get our sexual urges out. There will be a lot of people who say, when we talk about uh, sexual activity with these kids or with these people, the people will have more sex. Now, sexual education actually does not increase the number of sexual acts. It actually promotes healthy sex, which is the need of society. It actually fosters healthy sexual relationships because it empowers both the man and the woman with the correct knowledge. It actually sensitizes them against the next gender. So, whatever gender insensitivity we have, wherein the man thinks he's very muscular and powerful, and the woman thinks she's weak and she has to be subdued. So, all those insensitivities are taken care of when we actually address sexual education in schools. So, I'm a very strong advocate of having sexual education at every level. And that will definitely bring down the crime rate. Law is strict, absolutely strict, but the law starts after the sexual offense is committed. Law does not start before the offense is committed. This is the biggest drawback of law, is what I say.
Yes, Dr. Sagar. Yes. Now, what I'd like to bring to your notice is there is a law in place, but the implementation of the law hasn't been effective in our country. नाम के वास्ते बस लॉ है, लेकिन हकीकत में वो इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं होता है. Whereas you see foreign countries, or you have seen some of the countries, I don't want to name the countries, they have death penalties for sexual offenders. I wish that happens in India, and not only in India, in all parts of the world. I don't
No,
know if I'm
no,
right or wrong.
no,
I would like you to answer this in the right way.
no. I think we also have the death penalty for sexual offenses. So it's not that we don't have it. Obviously, we don't have something like the electric chair or death by poison or something by injection or something. But we do have death by hanging. But the problem is that majority of the sexual offenses are not investigated properly. They are not investigated from the viewpoint of the victim. The mindset of even, unfortunately, of the police, the judiciary has to change. You cannot blame the victim. You cannot find faults with the victim, but you have to find the evidence why uh, the, the perpetrator has actually committed the crime. But what we do, we start saying that this girl is promiscuous. She's had multiple relationships in the past. See, I believe even a prostitute can be raped. Even a prostitute can be raped because consent is what matters. It does not matter whether you have had sex once or you have had sex 10,000 times. What matters is every time have I given my consent for that sexual act. If I have not given, even if I am a prostitute, I am entitled to call that act as rape. This should be the norm, not the exception. But what we do is we start finding character flaws in that woman. This is what the entire machinery, the law, the judiciary, the police, even some NGOs, they have to change this machinery. We have to sensitize everyone. And that is when the law will actually become effective on the ground. On paper, Indian law, I think, is very effective. What it lacks is effectiveness on the ground because the agencies implementing it have not been sensitized as. So, if we can do that, we can very well go ahead and be a very model country. I'll tell you, our laws are strict, they're stringent, but how they are applied, why they are applied, by whom they are applied, that needs to change.
Yes, doctor. Doctor, what about peer influence or peer pressure, or you say pleasing your friends? Because recently we had a case called as in Kolkata, if I'm not mistaken, Manojit Mishra and his accomplices have done something that is really heinous.
Horrendous.
I'm unable to speak about it as well. So under the influence of peer pressure or your peers influencing your thought process, I don't know how this works. We've seen many cases like this in college campuses and many other places this happening.
Yeah, so see, basically, whenever someone commits a sexual offense, it is either because he is the perpetrator or he is in a group, so he feels that he's entitled to it. So usually, these rape cases are not very commonly conducted alone. They are usually conducted with the help or knowledge of other people. Why? Because we always feel happy in a group, na? Very safe in a group. If five people commit an offense, then it is good. Mobocracy. This always happens. And we have seen in multiple states when there have been incidents of ransom by mobs, the mobs have been let off. There have been no cases filed against them. Like in Bombay, I think I remember in one New Year's Eve, there was a lot of molestation by a mob which was done. Majority of the perpetrators just bypass the law. What does that uh, give the feeling is that we can get away with the criminal act. And therefore, when one of my friend commits a crime, I feel compelled to support him. I feel compelled to support him, compelled to take part in the act because I want to feel in that group. And then another thing which is there is I also want some advantage. So that advantage can be in belonging to that group. It can be in the form of getting something, maybe money, maybe proceeds of the crime, maybe proceeds of the crime can be even having a sexual or rape of that woman. That can
Gang
be
rape.
my, yeah, gang rape. So that can be a privilege which I get. It can be in the form of getting something monetary or non monetary. It can be getting a tag of being a gangster. We should talk when we are discussing about sexual offense. Every parent must take into consideration, must act if their children are into these things. Don't treat your child as the most innocent being in this world. Please keep an open eye on them. Please take care that your child is not doing these things because he starts small and it will lead to a large crime. So I want all parents to be very careful of their kids. Innocence is now becoming a lost thing.
Yes, doctor. Doctor, one very important thing what I'd love to discuss with you is filming the act, blackmailing the victim, and molesting the victim time and again. You've committed the mistake or the sexual offense once, but you've videographed it, you've clicked pictures, and now you're targeting the victim through blackmail. And for years, there are some victims who have suffered at the hands of their perpetrators. Could you share something on this as well, please?
See, when a person commits a crime, first time, he is always afraid. He is always afraid of the law. He always thinks of consequences that will happen. Now, if I commit a crime, I will try to save myself. How will I save myself? I will get saved only if the victim doesn't file a case against me or doesn't speak about that act, right? So I'll do two things. One, I'll try to silence the victim by traumatizing, murdering, killing the victim. Two, I may be a so called lenient person and I will threaten. This usually happens with younger kids, wherein the perpetrator always terrorizes the kids, terrorizes them. If you tell it to your parents, I will kill your parents, or I will kill you, or I'll kill your uncle, whom that kid likes a lot, or I'll kill your pet for that matter. So that is the other way that they try to save themselves. The third way is to silence the victim, but without a physical harm, is by actually recording that act, taking photographs, films, videos, and keeping it with them and threatening the victim that if you are going to expose me, I am going to destroy your life. Now, what happens is most of the victim, most of the women especially, feel threatened by loss of their dignity, loss of uh, the feeling of being secure. If their private acts are exposed, what society will say? Will I get married? What will happen to my life? And because of that, they keep quiet. They absolutely keep quiet. I know a girl. Um, she actually was molested by her paternal uncle. तो जिसको हम काका बोलते हैं मराठी में. So paternal uncle used to abuse her left, right, and center. Right from when she was in fifth or sixth standard. The girl's father was very strict. He was the head of the house. Very strict. So strict that the kids even used to fear talking with their father. Now, when this uncle was abusing the girl, she wanted to disclose it to her father, but she just couldn't, fearing the backlash that the father would have against her. So this continued for 4 5 years, and then because of some things, they separated. The uncle separated and the father separated. They started living separately. The girl got married. She became 30 years, and she had come to me with her husband for counseling. The husband was saying that whenever we are trying to have sex, she's mortally afraid and she just starts crying. She doesn't allow me to touch. What do I do? Now, that is the time when I talked with that woman. That is the time when she divulged for the first time to someone that I was being sexually abused by my uncle. I've never told it to anyone. And that is the reason why I don't like any male touch. So that fear was there. Now, to get over that fear, in fact, the husband had told her father also that this is what she was doing. So when I talked with the father and I disclosed it to him that why your daughter did not complain to you about the uncle, that time, let me tell you, the father literally cried. He started crying. He started abusing himself for being so strict. That is the time he realized that a fatherly figure should not only be strict, but he should also be a welcoming figure wherein the kid can express anything and everything to. That day, in my consulting, the father and the daughter bonded so well. They bonded over this crazy experience of that girl, wherein the father was crying, saying that I should have understood it. I should have given you the safe space. The daughter was saying, if I would have known that you are so sensitive towards me, it would have been so nice for me. So, this bond which is there na, between parents and kids is what makes the difference. And that bond actually helped the woman to get over a fear of sexual intercourse. And literally, the husband was so happy. They both had a very satisfying sexual life. They even delivered with me. So, this is what I call as creating a safe space. Every person should have a safe space in their own house, wherein they can disclose their most innermost feelings, innermost thoughts, innermost secrets to anyone and everyone. That is what will make an ideal society.
Yes, Doctor. Yes, yes, Dr. Sagar. You've been speaking so well. You've been sharing your thoughts and views and your experience and expertise so well with us. You've given us many examples. Before we sum up, one important thing that I'd love to discuss with you is what if the father is the perpetrator? Because I've heard several cases from near and dear ones being molested by their own father.
See, let me tell you, younger children, 90 to 95% of the cases are perpetrated by their near and dear ones. It may be the father, the mother, the uncle, the auntie, the driver, the chaprasi of the office, people whom the kid knows. So it is for the parents to have a dialogue with the kids and to assure them of a safe space wherein they can go and talk their fears.
So, dear friends, I would love you or request you, I would request each one of you who would love to avail the services of Dr. Sagar. You could connect with him. He's a renowned gynecologist and sexologist. He gives good counseling to people. He has been doing a lot of work across different platforms, online and offline. People flock to him for his services. He's well known in Maharashtra, not only in Maharashtra, pan India. And we'd love to thank him for all that he does to create awareness and to save lives in the right way. We'll share his details in the description when we share this video. Stay safe, stay blessed, and stay connected. Take care of your children and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Dr. Sagar.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you, Doctor. Have a wonderful time. Dear friends, with this, we'd like to sum up now the session with lots of gratitude towards Dr. Sagar for being here as our resource person to create awareness on the International Fab Talks. If you'd love to support us, stay connected with us. Like, comment, subscribe, and share to the International Fab Talks. Be a part of transformation. Lack of awareness is the cause of lots of sexual offenses across India and the world. Let's stay safe, protect our children. It could be our sons and daughters or the third gender. Let's stay safe. Let's make life beautiful, right? With this, we'd like to sign off now. Stay connected and stay blessed. God bless.